Hi guys, this is Danny Lights. I'm the bass player for Bloodhunter, and I want to introduce the band a little bit and answer some questions from the guys from Antichrist magazine. So first of all, the band name is Bloodhunter. We're from Spain. We play pretty extreme form of melodic death metal because there's a lot of melodies, not just brutal death metal. There's melodies. There's a good variety of influences, I guess, as most people would say. The meaning behind the band name is a little hard to explain, I guess. I think it's a fictional inspiration. The idea of the Bloodhunters is like a new generation of beings that are against the establishment, that are fighting against the common ideas, that are fighting against the status quo, so to speak. And I think it's this whole abstract concept of self-growth, self-knowledge, and about being against things that just don't go with your ideas. So going against the grain. That's what Bloodhunter is about, going against the grain. So about Live in Madrid, it's our latest EP that on Spotify you can find it as a separate EP with a really cool cover. But if you want to buy a physical version, it's actually included as bonus tracks in the reissue of our first album that we released this year as well. The original first album is from 2014, self-titled, and we re-released it with this live album, live EP, in the bonus tracks in the physical edition. So it's a show that we played in 2019 in March in Madrid, which is where we live. And it was a show that was quite special for us. It was, during the tour for our second album, The End of Faith. And we decided that because we were playing at home, we had ticket sales were pretty good. It was looking up to be a pretty fun, really cool show. We decided to record it. So I took my laptop and we recorded the audio tracks, and we had some awesome people record several video sources so we could have that for later. And we weren't sure what we were going to do with it at first, so we decided to keep it there and maybe release it as several videos independently, depending on how it turned out. So I started working on the tracks. I mixed the tracks for the live album, and we all really liked how it was sounding. We thought it sounded live. It doesn't sound like a studio album. It sounds cool because it's live. It's actually live. There's no studio magic going on. But it sounded really cool, and the video was pretty cool as well. So at first we released one song, and then we decided that we were going to do this reissue for the album, so we decided to work on a few more songs. We ended up doing 6 songs from that show. It's more or less like half of the show, more or less, to include as bonus tracks, to include those live songs. Those are songs from both our albums played live. Who will handle the release of our future album? Well, we really don't know yet. We're already working on the album. Recording is going pretty well so far. Everything is going well, but we still don't know if Extreme Music or Suspiria Records or anyone will help us with that release. I guess we will know when we're closer to the final release. Do we think it's important to have a label deal? Well, that's a really difficult question. Honestly, I think labels can really help bands of all levels. But labels, like bands, can be really big and really small, and I think the most important thing is having a right match for the right match of label with the right match of a band. So maybe sometimes the band can pull its own weight, which definitely happens with a lot of bands. I mean, many big bands can go without a label or without a management agency, or some bands will just sign a distribution deal with a label, but not an actual full deal. But that really depends on the situation. I think it's important, at least for us. We like the idea of having a label helping with all the distribution and promotion and other aspects of the releases, but I don't think it's essential. Personally speaking, I'm not speaking on behalf of the whole band, but I do think that for us, so far we've had some really good experiences, really right matches with our labels with our first 2 albums. Okay, a little bit about our forthcoming album. Well, we can't really say much. It's still in progress, but all the songs are written, all the rhythm guitar parts are basically finished. We're still working on minor details in terms of guitar tracks. We are doing most of the production task ourselves, which we already did for the previous album, The End of Faith. So guitar and bass tracks are being self-produced. We handle that. And apart from that, we can't really say much yet. We're still working on it. We're still ironing out all the details, which it should have been done by this year, but because of this whole pandemic issue, it has definitely slowed down our own plans, as I'm sure has happened with pretty much everyone, or almost everyone. So, this question is for Diva, which I am not. But I will say, personally, being in the band since the first album, I can say that she is. I'm definitely happy with the result, with her result and the whole band's result in the first album, but I think the progress that we have all made as musicians and in general in our product, in production terms, in terms of songwriting and performances, all of us, including and especially Diva, we have all improved, and she has definitely improved a lot. But we really like that first album. We're still really happy with it. We're not. There's nothing in particular we would change about it, but we are definitely happy with the progress as a band we've all made, and I'm pretty sure I can speak on her behalf as well in saying that she's also happy with how she has improved personally, performance-wise, and also lyrics-wise. I personally really like her lyrical work, and the things she's working on right now for the new album are really cool things in terms of lyrics and album concept. And I think that with her help, because she's the main one working on the lyrical concepts, we are really pushing it forward. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, of course we've had to postpone shows. Everyone has. Although, to be honest, for us, this year was supposed to be a studio year. We were supposed to be doing the new album, and we really only had a couple of festival shows in the summer that we were going to do, which obviously got canceled like every festival in the world, basically, in the summer. And, of course, we've had many other offers and proposals for shows during the rest of the year and also for next year, which never materialized. Some of them were already decided and were already negotiated, but of course they were never announced publicly because everything stopped when the whole pandemic thing started. So yeah, we have had to cancel many shows, and we also had to postpone recording our new album because at first it was very difficult to even get together. It still is difficult to get together, but we've managed to, now that things are a bit more calm, we've managed to make it work, and we're working on the album, sometimes all together, sometimes remotely, but we can definitely make it work. Epic fails during live performances, of course. I think everyone has moments where things go wrong, be it technical issues or human mistakes. We're all human, we all make mistakes for sure. And in the high-intensity moments of concerts where everything happens real fast in a split second, any minor mistake can really go bad. We all had, personally, all of us in Bloodhunter and in our other projects we've worked with, of course we've had epic fails. I think for Bloodhunter specifically, it's never been anything terrible. No one's gotten injured or any weird thing. I remember before our first show at Leyendas del Rock in the south of Spain. It was a pretty important show for us, one of our first big festivals in Spain. There were a lot of people at the stage waiting for us to start, so we were a bit, not nervous, but definitely excited. And Danny, the guitar player, his guitar decided to not work right while the intro was playing. So we were already playing the intro to our show. We were behind scenes getting ready to jump on stage with the first song, and then we had Danny running around trying to check what was wrong with his guitar, the cable, the amplifier, whatever it was. We had two friends who were working with us at the show running around trying to find what was the issue, and in the end, very high tension seconds, because it was basically 30 seconds before the song started, where he managed to fix whatever the issue was. I think a cable was plugged in wrong or whatever. It's a minor thing, just things that you never know that can always happen. And right before the song started, it worked, and it blew up. It went great. It was a great show, but those 30 seconds before that first song were really tense for us because we weren't sure if, if the guitar was gonna, sound. I think that's one that comes off the top of my head, but there's definitely plenty more for all of us. New music that has impressed me. Oh yeah, definitely. There's a lot. If we're talking about other Spanish bands, for example, I really love Wormed. To me, it's one of my favorite death metal bands, and they're from here, from Spain. And they released a new EP recently, which is, as usual for them, impressive, amazing, but really brutal, really technical, really cool. There's a lot of cool bands coming out in Spain now. Like, we have a lot of bands who are friends of us, like the guys in Astray Valley, the guys in Death and Legacy, really cool stuff, interesting stuff. And in terms of worldwide, international stuff, well, I mean, I'm a big fan of Catatonia. Their new album is amazing. Amaranth has some really cool stuff, very commercial kind of metal stuff that I really like. And plenty of things. I mean, there's a lot of really cool metal and rock music coming out nowadays. I always like to check out new stuff from old bands and new stuff from new bands as well. How will the COVID-19 pandemic affect the music scene? That's really hard to know. I mean, when this whole thing started, we were thinking it would be just maybe a couple of months. We would, go on, festivals and tours would go on, and it has really extended way past the initial predictions. So it's really hard to know what will happen now. At first, everyone was holding back. Now, well, bands have been releasing albums, doing live stream shows, trying to do... I really don't think live stream shows in general are gonna make a big difference when things are back to normal, because as much as I love, and I have watched many live stream shows of bands that I like, it's better than nothing, but it's never as good as a real show. So I don't think it's a replacement. I think that will probably go back to normal if things go back to normal. We will have tours and festivals and shows again, because definitely online concerts can't replace the real thing, as much as I do think they're really cool if they're done right.